Well, I took the function health test, not just once, but twice. And the second time I did it this past year, something flagged on my report bad enough that I got an actual phone call from Function Health themselves. That means something is a real concern. So today, I'm giving you the full story. What happened, what that call was about, and my honest review after now 2 years of using Function Health. I took the test again just recently in May of 2026. So today, you're seeing a real before and after, December 2024 versus now. Now, since my last video, Function actually changed a few things worth knowing about. The price came down. That's like the best thing. It's now $365 a year for the base plan. They added their own AI chat and protocol features built right into the app. And if you don't have a Quest lab near you, they now partner with a company called GetLabs, so you can get an at-home draw instead. And I'll show you the AI piece in a second because I actually did something similar myself before I even realized that it was already now built into the app. Now, in the past, the price used to be $499 for the base. And, it's nice that it kind of came back down because, again, that's a lot of money in the first place. I'm going to take you through what I did, which was the base plan only, the $365 a year. I did not add anything on. Now, you're welcome to. There's different things you can add on if you want to test things that are above and beyond the over 100 biomarkers that Function tests when you go for the annual test. Some are just a couple bucks, and some are insanely expensive, like the cancer detection test is well over $800. This today, what you're seeing is the review on what the base plan looks like. And look, I gotta say before we jump into the dashboard where I show you my actual details, I always, and this is my personal opinion, but when I go to the doctor will order scripts. We should all go for an annual checkup, right? But sometimes the blood work that they do is only like a couple biomarkers. But what if something's happening in one of these other biomarkers that maybe we could be proactive about? That's why I decided to go with Function because, at the end of the day, they usually wait for symptoms to appear. That's my experience with doctors. They wait until you say, hey, something's hurting or something doesn't feel right. Oh, okay, let's order you a biomarker test at that point. Well, it might be too late if you're waiting until a symptom appears. Wouldn't it be nice to trend things over time to say, hey, this was always in range and then all of a sudden it's not? What's going on with that? Now, here we are. You can see that I have 129 biomarkers, 95 in range, 10 out of range. I'll take you through that in a minute, and 24 other. That's just basic things like here's what your blood type is and things like that. Every mid-year, you get to test again, and that's included in the 365, right? You get the 100 biomarkers in the beginning, and then halfway through, you get to do another 60. I'm actually due to schedule that. This is the one that I unfortunately never got around to last year because of all the things that were happening in my life. I'm looking forward to actually being able to do it this year and report back. But here we are at 129. I am much older than 30, so I'm actually happy that I've achieved a 30.8 biological age, up a little bit from last year, but not too bad. So I'll start with the in range, and then what we'll do is I'll tell you about that out of range and why they called me. That was kind of scary. So here's what we got going on. If I come down here, look at all of the different things this thing tests. Now, what you're noticing here in the example of blood, right? Here's my hemoglobin. You see how you have two different dots here? What it's letting you know is what any prior test looked like as well as any current test. So we're looking at a difference, and let me click into it actually. So we're looking at a difference of December 2024, and then like I said, in May of 2026. Now, if I would have done a follow-up or something like that, anything that's included in that mid-range test, that usually is about 6 months after your first test, would also show as a third dot. But isn't it going to be cool to be able to, over the many years ahead, be able to look back and say, here's how I progressed over those years, over those months, etc. As we come down here, we can see if anything went from out of range to in range. In fact, I think something did. So there was some good news. Let's take a look. Right here's one, iron saturation. Look at that. Went from out of range, or above range, I should say, into an acceptable in range. I'm happy with that. What I love about going through this way, and again, you can either do this on the desktop like I'm doing now, or you can do it on your phone, totally your call. They have the app or the desktop version. But what I like is if you come up here and you're like, let me take a look at my out of range, right? Okay, what's happening here? Why is this the way it is. Okay, so the good news is you can see mine is going down, but it's not quite in range. You can come down and it'll give you details on why it matters. It'll give you details on causes, foods to eat, foods to avoid or limit, any supplements that may help. All of this is very helpful when it comes down to understanding what works best for your particular situation. And then over time, you can see how that goes. Now, you can do a couple things here with this, which is really neat. First thing is you wait until your follow-up, whether that's the annual or the every 6 month, or you can just schedule a one-off. If you're worried about this particular biomarker, you can come in here and schedule a specific test only for that biomarker if you wish to do so. The new thing I mentioned a little bit earlier, of course, is the AI chat as well. So you can ask it pretty much all kinds of different things. Like, for example, how can I improve my LDL numbers? And it will actually reference your biomarkers within function, pull it together and spit out information for you that could be helpful. It's up to you. Some people don't like using AI for these type of things. It's your call. You could also, if you would like to, download your reports off of function and put them into something else that you prefer, whether that's Claude, ChatGPT, or whatever AI you like. Or if you hate the idea, just don't use it at all. You can see here's what's going on here, and it lets you know kind of what's going on, gives you your stats, gives you things to think about. And that's all great. Now let's talk about the phone call that I got, because something actually very strange popped up. And it was actually in the pancreas of all things. Take a look down here. Again, as I scroll down, just look at all the biomarkers, right? Look at this. Lipase, whatever that is. But look at that. 31 back in December, and it shoots up to 243, which is look at the above range, 60, 243. And I'll explain why it's down again, what happened there, but 243. So anytime, and this isn't just for any out of range, but if you have something that is extremely high or way out of typical range at all, there is a chance that function will call you. One of their clinicians will actually call you. And the idea is to not get a phone call. So when I looked down, I actually got a voicemail because I missed the call, and it said, "Hi, this is Function Health calling," and it was an actual person. And I'm like, oh God, because I saw this biomarker come through. I'm like, man, that is high. What's going on with that in the pancreas? And then when I got the phone call, I'm like, oh no, is something actually wrong? So I immediately called them back. The lady was great. And she said, look, I need to ask you some questions about this particular biomarker. Do you have any stomach pain going on? Do you have any abdominal cramps? Do you have this? Do you have that? Started quizzing me. What was weird is I didn't have any symptoms. I mean, I feel great. My energy's up. I'm not fatigued. I have no stomach pain or anything like that. Like, what's the deal with that? So she said, okay, good. And the thing is if I would have said, oh yeah, my stomach's been really hurting. I can't wake up in the morning. Things are awful. They probably would have said, go to the hospital immediately, which, wow. This is kind of interesting. But because she's like, hey, this could be the start of something, you need to schedule some follow-up. So that's what happened. And then we decided to test, because it turns out this could have either been a transitory thing, or I was eating like a complete fool right before this. I was eating like really bad type of stuff. Doesn't really excuse it, but they said, let's go ahead and retest, because something just doesn't seem like it's adding up. The good news is it popped back down. So now that's good news. Let me tell you, I was a little bit stressed out. I'm happy that I did this retest. Now, this retest did cost me $10, but I'm glad I did it, because I just wanted to say, okay, am I good or not? It came in good. Everybody's happy now. And I'm going to keep an eye on this in the future. If this keeps going wacky again, I'm going to have to go back to the doctor and figure out what happened. But this goes back to this issue of I don't want to wait for pain to happen, for symptoms to happen to test this. Now I got something I can keep my eye on for the follow-up and for the next year. If it stays in range, great. If it pops back up again, we need to talk a little bit more before something actually bad does happen. That's the key of taking control of your health with Function Health. All of these things that they test just are great opportunities for you to test for yourself. If you are a female, you'll get female health. If you get male, you'll get male health. You can see they'll test your testosterone. All of everything you're seeing here as I'm scrolling around, remember, is part of the base plan. Link down in the description below if you're interested in getting started with Function Health today. Now, I looked at some of the other ones like InsideTracker and some of these other ones, but they did not test as many biomarkers as function did. And that is critical when it comes down to making a decision. Another really good update, if you watched my original video or even if you're just curious, in this last year, in May of 2026, the vials that you have to deal with on the blood draw are significantly less. It takes only one visit now. That was my experience with this. One visit, and I think it was only about 9 or 10 vials. Compare that to December of 2024. I think what happened is they got better with their technology of how they test, because back in December 2024, it took 2 visits of the first one was 14 vials, if I remember correctly, and the second one might have been about 10 to 12. That was absolutely a lot of blood. Not as much as a blood donation by any means, but it was just a lot to deal with for a test. So it was nice. I didn't have to do 2 follow-ups. I just did 1 appointment, went in, super easy. It took about 10 minutes at my local Quest right down the road. And then as soon as the results start coming in, which for me on this experience this time took until the next day, things start trickling in. They don't wait until everything's available. They start loading things as soon as you get the results. So it started with, I think, some of the male health comes in first, and then later the blood comes in. Some things take about a couple weeks. Some of these things must take a while to test. But the other stuff, as soon as it's available, function alerts you. It gets loaded into the app. It gets loaded here on the desktop, and you can start seeing your actual results almost in real time. It's very nice. Now, if you add on test and you're adding tests and you're doing the cancer detection, all these other things, obviously you're probably going to have more visits and more vials. But if you just do the base plan like I'm doing, that's hopefully what you'll be able to expect as well. But if you've done this, comment down below with your experience as well. If you have any questions at all, let me know. And thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful for you. Check out this video up here next, and we'll see you on the next video.